Awesome. Wait, okay, I have one quick question for Daniel. Is that cool?
Yeah, what is your name? Were you dancing
sorry.
at karaoke last night?
Yeah. No, that wasn't me.
Very talented.
Sorry, I'm Goober, yeah. Sorry. But yes, I'm just going to call you Daniel because...
Most people do.
If that's okay. And yeah, I just want to know, when you were actually doing the voice acting back then for the series, were you also in the same room with all the adult voice actors doing it together? What was it like to be in a room, you're a child, and you're working with all these adults around you who are probably goofing off and doing all kinds of crazy stuff? What was it like being in the same room and interacting in that way?
Well, thanks for the question. And also, I just had to say, watching that introduction of my character, has anybody ever seen that movie Galaxy Quest by chance?
Yeah.
There's a character in that who was a child actor and he's then an adult actor. It was kind of, I had that little deja vu Galaxy Quest moment there. Yeah, it's such an honor to have gotten to be this character, because even when the movies came out, and I'll answer your question, but even when the movies recently came out, a lot of interest started coming back to me about Transformers, and I've been remarking to people quite a bit today how cool it is that over 30 years after the fact, there's still so much energy behind this movie and the series and the world. So it's very cool. So to answer your question, most of this, I worked on the series. I did episodes on the series, and I did work on the film version. And as I recall, they were different, and you might have additional thoughts on this too, Hal, but I remember that when we recorded episodes of the TV show, we were mostly in this little booth upstairs in Burbank with Wally Burr directing behind the glass, and usually when I would come into work, I would go in after school. My parents would bring me. And I really...
The rest of us had been there since 8 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. No, there were some of the other actors. There were other people around.
No.
I wasn't the only one. But in this case, I was usually recording by myself, but other actors, the other voiceover artists were... I think, again, I said something like this over at the table outside, but some of the actors were outside or drinking their coffee, or... Not everybody was smoking cigarettes, but some of them, and
Taking it easy,
waiting
for their
more.
time to call in for Wally.
Exactly, and but I remember how specific the director wanted us to be with our line readings. Anyway, yeah,
We know.
and I have a lot of reverence for that process too. I mean, now it's legendary.
Exactly. I mean, on one hand, I remember everybody complaining about it, but then I look back and I go, how many other shows 30 years later are people going like, I just love that show, man. It really changed my life.
Right.
And I'm going like...
And a lot of it's the voice cast. I mean, there never was a greater collection of voice actors on one enterprise than there was on...
I was so lucky. I was a new guy in Hollywood at the time, and I got to work with the creme de la creme of Hollywood.
Frank Welker and...
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Frank and I were in the same agency and all that, but working with those guys, and then, having Scatman Carruthers and all these other people come in, and you're going like, holy moly, these are guys that I used to watch when I was a kid, and now I'm working with them, and it's like, hey, how you doing? And Scatman's telling me stories about how he names the microphone and what he does to it. And I'm going, all righty then. And that's the story I'm not going to share with you right now. But these are the kinds of things that happen. Just that there was a community there that does not exist any longer.
No.
And so it is true that we did interact with each other. I recall, it's different than the series when we were going in for the film. If I remember correctly, we were all together in a much bigger recording studio, and we did a read-through, if I remember correctly. And then Orson Welles wasn't there, but but some of us did read together. Judd Nelson was there for the film part, and we did scenes together. But no, I'd say in a lot of moments, a lot of us actors were there working together at the same time. Again, reading at different times, waiting and going in.
But I mean, it really was.
We were there.
It was a stable full of the champion thoroughbreds waiting to get their chance to race out of the gate. And sitting back and speaking with them in idle hours, idle conversation, just, sharing stories and stuff, you'll never find that ever again. Because now we all sit in our own little rooms with our own little equipment, and then we send our voices out, and they say, oh, maybe today you can come in and do the session, but in the session you're working with somebody that's in another city, and maybe they're there with you and maybe they're not. But the community that was available during, I'll say, the analog universe is gone.
So now you're literally phoning it in.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Now,